To start, poor Bobby's,
Oh, man, showed up, man.
he wrote us off. He may be in jail again today.
I guess Bob forgot to come again.
Yeah, Bob forgot what day it was. Well, I almost forgot the other day.
Well, I keep forgetting about Tuesday, y'all
When
probably
everything's,
happy about
I'm gonna
that.
forget Tuesday, so they ain't no use in being.
yeah, okay.
Well, the views expressed here are, mostly expressed by idiots, and if you're dumb enough to believe any of it, you fit right in, so thanks for joining us. This is Ronnie. While Bob's forgot to come again. We got the usual suspects other than Bob. We got Jerry Kidd and R.L. Henson, and I don't know what else to say except hello, everybody. Glad you could tune us in.
Hey,
What's going on, Jerry?
If you wanna call, area code 423, that's in case you're in China or Argentina.
Or went home to Mexico.
The station is 562, or the exchange is 562. The station is 3557. On the other one, it's 566, 1450. Because this is WLAL, 1450.
Well, you got the
and
round
100 and 100.9 FM.
100.9.
and Doug TV,
Well, we're all nationwide,
Mhm.
worldwide.
and also HB Television, the Wild Bob and Ronnie show on Ustream. We're just all over the spectrum. What's going on, Henson?
Done a little reading, trying not to get depressed or whatever, about how great things are in the economy, whatever.
Watching the news will get you
Well,
depressed.
now, I'm gonna tell you, the economy's picking up, and mysteriously, gas prices are going down. Some old fool hillbilly said all we had to do to improve the economy was to cheapen energy, but it must have not been me, because I ain't that smart.
Well, it must be improving for the TVA. I read an article, I believe it was yesterday, the day before, where the board of directors of TVA have voted to increase the CEO's package by $500 and some thousand or something like
Well,
that.
if he's the same guy that got them into, what is it, $30 billion debt.
Well, I believe what they do is they just, they come along and pass that along, and then after a year or two, they can get out. But anyhow, I guess
want one of them golden parachutes
Well,
myself, and the
that-
more gold, the better.
that $500,000 or whatever probably don't sound like much, but
It does to me.
the whole package that this guy's receiving, this was part of, well, let me back up and say this was an addition to his base pay. But his entire package prior to this was $7.4 million.
Sound like Kenny Baird now, will follow you tell me.
No, more like the president of UT, whatever they call him guys.
Well now, poor guy, oh we have a president now, you're not talking about the coach now.
No, Coach gets more
Okay.
Is
money.
he the
Yeah.
one that stole the rug when he left?
No,
The
he didn't leave it, it was red.
head honcho is the one that had that there several multi-$1,000 grill, you know,
And all
had
sorts of stuff.
5-speed transmission and stuff. And then the music director, he sold the governor's piano.
Well, anyhow, this, the director, this, over the TVA, is the highest paid federal employee in the United States.
Well, he's over a big outfit.
Well,
You know, actually, TVA is an independent entity, kinda like the post office.
well, It may
You know, the
be,
president appoints the board members, but that's it. You
okay,
can't fire
Yeah,
them.
but if they need money, we step in and bail them out all the time.
Well, they gave them the authority to borrow money, and I think there's only 7 countries in the world that owe more money than TVA.
Yeah.
United States being one of them.
Yeah, we learned them, didn't we?
So they emulate federal government.
the TVA, after that Phelps Bend thing over there, they was deep in debt. I mean, really bad off.
Well, they're gonna get more debt. They're
Well-
fixing to go into nuclear production, aren't they? Aren't they gonna open up a Watts Bar plant?
Well, that Watts Bar plant, they've been working on it, I think, for about, I wanna say 30 or 40 years, trying to get that thing online. And they had it up reasonably close, or somewhere, if you can say close, and then they just shut down on it. All right, they let it sit there for untold years, and then they decided to bring it back
Well, all the
online.
screws got rusted.
Well, everything about the thing just about had to be redone then, after it sat there for so long. I think all
Well,
the
that's what I
valves.
heard them back in the 70s, was every time they tried to build a plant, the EPA kept
Yeah.
changing the rules as they
Yeah.
were building.
Hey, remember that one they had it took them like a month to haul some sort of reactor containment
Yeah.
device down the road, had 100-something wheels under it and everything.
That
Remember
was, that was Phelps Bend.
Okay.
They brought it up the river to a place, some kind of unloading place. They brought it in on a barge.
It zoomed up the road about 3
Then,
miles an
yeah.
hour, did it?
But then, I can't remember where we was working at that time, but anyhow, some of the fellows we was working with was working that Phelps Bend job on weekends and nights and stuff like that. They'd already decided to cancel that deal, that Phelps Bend thing. Then for, I don't know how much time, even though after they said they was going to cancel it, they continued to work. They continued to haul, excavate, and do everything,
You got to finish
even
the
though,
contract.
well, it makes no sense to working people out here, we're paying for
My
that.
pappy told me that, everything Oak Ridge went under cost plus 10%.
Right.
And that way you didn't have to pay their contract and stuff in a hurry.
Well,
And they did get
anyhow,
the job done.
that reactor, whenever the containment, the reactor at Phelps Bend would not fit the containment. Go ahead now.
Somebody in the Ron show.
Hello?
Hello.
Is this the WLAL?
Yes,
Yes, it
ma'am, yeah.
Okay, Melu has a broadcast about tonight, Water Live.
You need to talk to somebody at 562
1450.
1450.
Okay, I tried to call, couldn't get no answer.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
trying.
trying.
Well, you're on the radio right now, but
Yeah,
we
you're
talk
live
to you.
on the radio.
If you want to make an announcement, we'll pass it on.
Just pray for the lost.
Okay, thank you, man. But anyhow, that reactor would not fit the containment. Now, this is an engineering thing, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Oak Ridge just got into this again.
That sounds like our new jail.
Well, folks, if
They built it and it wasn't right.
Sounds like our sand pile out at the Money Hole Park, doesn't it?
Yeah, buddy.
I bet it would be fair to say that 50% of everything that the government does is just like these things, and this is just what we hear about.
Well, what I was gonna tell you about happened down at Oak Ridge, they give a contract to put in a water line, and they went right down the middle of the road. And they got about half done and realized that they were putting in a 4-inch water line, no, a 5-inch water line, they were supposed to put in a 3-inch water line. So in order to make the thing fair, they let these guys finish the thing, inspected it, wrote them a check, had them dig it back and start digging it up the next day and reduce it from a 5-inch to a 3-inch line. When the smart thing to done would be to increase the pump capacity just a little bit, and they got the future took care of, but they didn't do business that way. Somebody's brother-in-law was selling pipe.
They wouldn't even have to increase the pump.
Probably not.
Because once you fill that line up, whatever you add to one end is what you get out the other end.
Well, that's true,
Uh,
but it would slow down your flow rate.
that's a
But-
possibility, but,
But, like I said, I mean, I think they can got by just hooking it up, like you say.
mhm.
But just as a matter of common sense, the worst thing that they'd encountered would have been a bigger pump.
Well, the,
And then they could have put them in a splash park.
if, on that Phelps Bend thing over there, you said they had all these trucks and all this stuff to move it.
Yeah.
You ever hear about them moving it out?
No, is it still there?
It's still there, but it's buried. The,
Sounds like that crane went down the mountain down there at Briceville.
Did they bury the wheels with it?
well, what, the engineering is kinda like that, uranium processing facility in Oak Ridge. The facility would not hold the reactor know-how, but that's neither here nor there. But Japan, some entity there wanted to buy that reactor. And rather than to sell it, they buried it. Now, this is how government works. And we're talking about federal, but if you'll stop and look, our local government operates the same way.
You're talking about the Money Hole Park again.
Money Hole Park is just a, I
It's
don't,
just a fly speck on the down it.
yeah, I don't know how you describe that thing out there. The words, I guess you come by there today, didn't you? How many
Yeah.
people were out there?
It was
Was
covered
it
up.
covered up? Did they have, traffic control, police out there?
They had the light flashing.
Okay. But anyhow, that's,
I didn't see anybody out, but
I understand. But
now,
now,
when I went in, there was people going fishing, and there was a man and woman down there walking a dog,
well,
and there's a fellow sitting there in a pickup truck eating a Whopper Junior, and that's me.
okay, was, well.
And I went over there to
anyhow,
admire the screenery. There wasn't no screenery.
well, this processing plant at Oak Ridge, they had the same situation.
Yeah.
They engineered it, got to working on it, and then come to find out that it would not accommodate the equipment. And so they had to go back in and re-engineer, and now it was about, it's untold how many hundred millions of dollars they had in the engineering part of it. And now they're still having problems. They've had to rethink the whole thing and leave some of the equipment as it is, or some of the old facilities or whatever. But their great idea on this thing was then to build it taller, since it wasn't large enough to accommodate the equipment, so they just built it taller. But anyhow, gentlemen,
Some looks small when he's in front of it.
No those sponsors, it looks like.
there's all sorts of
Keep it in the
things.
family, I always.
I tell you, talking about government, the headlines this week in the Christian Journal was about, our new Chancery Judge, Elizabeth Asbury, appointing Dennis Potter to become clerk and master January the 1st. Well, that means he won't be road superintendent after January the 1st. Wild Bob and Ron show.
What time does the Cougar Craze start?
I don't know, call 562-1450 and see if they can answer.
All right, thank you.
They having a Christmas parade today?
No, it's a Cougar rally. Probably a football rally, playoffs.
She
begin.
said Cougar, didn't she? Okay.
But anyway, Dennis Potter's gonna be leaving office January the 1st. But while he's still head of the road superintendent, I think this deal between Elizabeth Asbury and Dennis Potter exemplifies the corrupt nature of American politics at every level of government. What it
Now,
shows.
don't give us your real opinion, Jerry.
Now, they're not there to serve the people. They're there to serve themselves. And what they've done, Dennis Potter, who has no money to pave roads, has paved every road in Campbell County leading to and from his home.
Well, that's all of them then.
And that'll take care of his road issues for the next 100 years. And poor old Elizabeth. You know, Dennis Potter and his brother over in Huntsville, who wants to be the clerk master in Scott County, approached Andy Tillman, who's the incumbent for Chancery, wanted to make a deal, and he turned them down. He said, I'm not making any deals to get elected, or to get reelected, and he did not. Well, they went to Elizabeth Asbury, and she was jumped all over that deal. So I'd say Dennis Potter's not only gonna take over clerk master here come January the 1st, his brother will be clerk master over in Scott County as soon as they figure out a way to assassinate whoever's got that job right now. You know,
Don't
encourage him,
Don't throw any punches.
encourage him to retire.
Not to encourage Lincoln.
Yeah. It just,
I don't have anything, this is not my opinion, this must be some.
well, it's my opinion that politics today is not about serving the people, not about getting elected to serve the people. It's getting these jobs to serve yourself.
What did you fellas think about the Tuesday election? You do remember Tuesday, that's
Was that an election?
5 days ago, wasn't it?
Well, I hate to see Mary Hedrick go down, especially as bad as she got beat.
I'm hoping she'd carry Campbell County.
I thought that rumor that they were gonna be checking for back child support and outstanding warrants at the polling places would keep all those places. At home, they wouldn't go vote. But they all showed up and voted her out.
But I personally don't think there's gonna be a great lot of change done. There'll be a lot of talk. I believe the president, or Obama, has laid it out as how it's gonna be. And he says that he will do the immigration thing with or without Congress.
Well, you know, the House and Senate guys are gonna say, well, we can't do anything without the president, we just kinda, they can say, we ain't sending any money out to the EPA this year. Bob said this to say, Friday, Tuesday, we ain't sending any money out to so-and-so and so-and-so, we're gonna defund these agencies and you guys go get a real job.
Well, that's right there, the Congress they can deal with it. They can play hardball, just like the other sides are playing, but what they could do is just exactly what you're saying. And they could also say that we're not gonna finance no more $4 million vacations.
Now here locally, Amanda Salmons went down there to the county commission meeting and told them that there would be lawsuits from every department in the county if they didn't get that property tax increase.
Who stated this?
Amanda Salmons, our new sessions judge.
Chief of County, Cleveland County.
Well, she worked over there. She lives here.
I'm not,
I was amazed to see how many people down there were in favor of a tax increase that ain't gonna affect them myself.
Every government employee, in fact, the sheriff hired some actors from Knoxville to dress up as deputies and had the room completely surrounded with deputies.
That's kinda like when they turned out the electric department down here that time.
yeah, it's, you know, whenever they had that bill that you're not supposed to speak about, something about powers,
Yeah.
the citizens showed up,
Village power?
no, county powers.
Oh, county power.
County
County
powers,
powers,
yeah,
right.
county powers.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, the citizens showed up, but yet it had no effect on the outcome.
I know.
So,
And there will.
Well, I just want to say Elizabeth Asbury and Dennis Potter have written their history, which should go in the history books as examples of American politics at its worst.
I never will forget, I went down to the county court when they were talking about raising taxes once before. And before they started the meeting, they brought up this subject about solar panels on the roofs of the schoolhouses. And I thought, what is this? Is a joke? It's gotta be. I mean, I ain't no brilliant Edison kind of guy, but I do know a little bit about electronics and just physics in general. And I know that there's no way you can operate a solar panel effectively, cost effectively, without some sort of government supplement. So you're gonna, the best you can hope for is to get somebody else's money for free, some other taxpayer. And I thought that was the biggest joke I'd ever heard of. What's the name of these people? They gotta be crazy, not be blamed if they ain't got them on the schoolhouses now.
Yep, without any engineering studies to determine whether the buildings were constructed strong enough to hold the extra weight, plus the 9.5 inches of snow they're supposed to be able to hold that.
So there's an
Well, they're
article,
counting on global warming.
the school system might want to get in line to get some more of those. There's an article in the paper today, the TVA has stated that they're going to fund 130 more megawatts, 130 megawatts more of this solar power.
No, they just owed $30 billion, they can afford stuff like that.
You know, well, now,
Where are they gonna put all these panels? That's gonna take a lot of panels.
Well, there's more
there's more
schoolhouses.
schools to put them on, the courthouses or whatever.
You can put them on
But,
every school in Tennessee and not get 135 megawatts.
They're running, I believe, this will put them up somewhere in excess of 500 megawatts, including wind power. But now, there's another article I read a long time ago, I'm saying at least a year ago, maybe, or close to it. The TVA built 3 windmills on, I guess it's Windrock Mountain, over here where they've got.
Is that the one you see coming up Highway
Yeah,
27?
Right. They put in 3, all right? They subcontracted out some kind of one of these deals to some company, I believe it was out of Texas or somewhere, and all the subsidies or whatever, and put in, I believe it was 7 more, maybe 10, or it may have been more than that. But the article I read was that the TVA had shut down their 3 that they had put in. They just shut them off. They don't generate with them. And they hadn't been in all that long, so I don't understand why they're not as large a windmill as the others. They don't have the output. But yet, if you've got 3 perfectly good windmills sitting on a mountain, why not let them generate? It's kind of like opening up Norris Dam and not generating electricity. Just let the water flow through.
You heard about that Buffett guy?
Yeah.
Supposed to be a multi-billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
He put up a windmill farm out in North Texas. He was
Talking
going,
about Pickens.
Pickens.
is that Pickens?
Yeah.
I thought Buffett was involved in that.
Now Buffett, he hauls oil, I believe, out of
Oh,
oil.
okay. That's why he don't want the pipeline, because his
Right.
railroad carries the oil.
Mhm.
But, okay, Pickens put up this wind farm out there in North Texas that was supposed to supply Dallas and Fort Worth. They would not contract with him because wind power is not dependable. You know, the wind stops, your source of electricity stops.
There's,
You know, it's not like hydropower or something that keeps those generators going at a regular, constant basis. Wind just don't do that.
well, there's in this in generating electricity in the coal-fired plants, you cannot just fire them up and shut them down. I mean, there's a process, and it can, if I remember correctly, when we worked at them, it took anywhere from 2 or 3 days to a week to shut one down and bring it back up. Because you don't start it off on coal. They started off on a different type of power supply, either fuel or gas or something like that to get it up. And then
Get it hot enough to burn the coal.
then you switch it over.
And you remember they used to, somebody'd mess up and they'd shut one of them old steam engines down and run,
Oh my goodness.
and he'd just suck the
Fold up,
yeah,
collapse.
suck it back in, I mean, just.
You know, my grandpa started fires that way. He started out with rolled up newspaper and then some kindling.
Okay.
He didn't use kerosene?
Got to throw some kerosene in there, get kindling going, get a
Well,
hot fire
Well,
going.
now, I'm gonna tell you something.
Then
If you
start
guys,
placing lumps of coal in
if
it.
you guys would go down to Digger and get some of that wonderful propane, you wouldn't have to start them up with a newspaper. He's right down there in the middle of the road
a
waiting to
flicky, you
serve you.
Vic, or a spark will
Yeah.
start it on it.
562-5444, in case you wanna talk to him about some propane. I said, was that 562-5444 or
5444, yeah, okay.
Digger Wilson, he's got propane and he's ready to do business, and it works, cause I've been a warming bike for a month now. 562-5444. Digger, for all your propane needs.
I have it, but it's.
It must be nice, the convenience of, that we have anymore. is
There you go.
Vic, you got heat,
Well, I tell you, you fellas had some of your rants, and I've got one too.
put it on.
Have you ever noticed that right after, I mean, I'm just a bah humbug kind of guy, but have you ever noticed that right after, Halloween, you go to the grocery store around here and they want you to donate $1 or $3 or buy a $5 food basket or something to feed the hungry? Well, I went down to Food City yesterday, and they hit me up for a donation. I went over to the Save Lot today and got me some peanut butter and bread and paid for it. And the guy said, do you want to donate $1 to feed the hungry? And I just said, well, I just did. I was hungry, wouldn't have been here. Because I had looked behind me and I saw a guy pushing one cart and tugging along behind him another cart, and it was full of Mountain Dew and Pepsi. So I just kind of fiddled around and found something to do, and stood around and scratched a little, till I had waiting on a taxi or something to see how that worked out. I had it figured out. He got $140-something worth of that, paid for it with him our little card.
A magic card?
Little card with a flag on it.
Magic card.
EBT.
And then right behind him come this old guy that I've known a while. He's a little bit older than me, I think, kind of a wormy sort of a feller. Looked like he wasn't doing real good health-wise. He got him some bologna and some light bread and I think a can or two of beans. And he paid cash for it. And he was kind of slow on getting his bag rounded up. I guess he felt kind of, you know, didn't want the clerk to think he was drunk or something. He said, I had a stroke, I can't use that one hand good. But he paid cash for his. Well, I went on out to the parking lot and just happened to end up behind a pickup truck with 40 cases of soda pop in it. And I was going on up the road and it turned in right on up the road a little piece to another little store. So I went on up town and made another stop and went back down, and they had that truck backed up to that there door, that little store, unloading them soda pops. So I'm not exactly sure I know what's going on there, but I think maybe I got a pretty good idea, and I've decided that if I can find a store that don't hit me up to feed the hungry, I'm gonna do all my shopping there at least through the holidays.
Food line.
They don't do it?
They've never hit me up.
Well, I may go up there then. I'll drive up there, keep being aggravated. I want to feed hungry people, but I don't want to feed them soda pop at half price. I mean, they getting, you know, they cash them in. But that's just me. I'm just not a very kind-hearted sort of fella, I reckon. But I saw all that myself today.
When I got on Social Security, I got a call from agricultural department wanting me to come down to Woodson's Mall and sign up for food stamps. Well, I thought, you know, that'd be a nice little supplement. Since Obama didn't give me a raise 3 out of 5 years on my Social Security, I thought, you know, a couple $100 a month would really help out. I went down there and they said I only qualified for $39 a month. I told them I ain't worth the paperwork. I burnt more gas than that coming down here.
You didn't tell them about all your unearned income and all that stuff, did you?
No, I told them about my Social Security.
There you go.
None of my gambling. I didn't tell them about my gambling profits or betting profits.
You know, it's an odd thing. If you win the lottery, they make you pay income tax on the money that you win, but yet they won't let you deduct whenever you buy a ticket. So, you know, you talk about a one-sided thing. If you go out there and buy 100 tickets and you don't win nothing, you ought to be able to deduct the $100
When I was
as an expense.
When I was in junior high school in Tennessee, they sent a film around that they wanted us to watch on the evils of gambling.
Evil.
And in this video, movie, you know, back then they had the old time movie, Bell and Howell projector kind of stuff. It was about these black people running the numbers racket and how it bankrupted these white families, you know.
Right.
And how people would get obsessed with gambling, lose their homes, their cars, and families would break up, divorces. The evils of gambling. But it was always a numbers racket run by blacks.
Well, you didn't have nobody operating the schools off of it or anything?
Back then they didn't have political correctness. But anyway, and now, after the state indoctrinating us against gambling, is now in the business of running a numbers racket. And that's all this lottery is, a numbers racket.
The morality and whatever of such things and whatever is determined by where the monies are going. Who's receiving the money
Good
is what
point.
determines whether it's moral or not moral.
Good point.
Well, I noticed another thing too.
Same thing about who gets appointed clerk and master.
If I go out to,
Where the money
if I
comes
go
from.
out to Las Vegas and I spend $100,000 and lose, I can't count it off my taxes?
No.
No, you can't.
Well,
Wait, wait,
ask
wait,
you
go
this.
ahead, you're.
If I go out
getting
there
two or
and I
three things
invest
involved.
$10 and I make $100,000, do I have to pay taxes
Yeah,
on it?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
correct.
why can't I count the $100 as a business expense?
That's what I just said. Why can't you? It's a
Well-
one-sided thing.
The other side gets to, don't that gambling casino get to count all their rent and all their overhead and all their employees, they get to count
Yeah.
that?
They count off as
I
expense.
think we ought to allow them, don't you?
Well, this,
Look who built that business, the mafia.
well,
We could get a deal like that too, if we had the right pool and live
That's right.
concrete.
but
I
this,
always thought Cliff Jennings could have had a successful casino in La Follette if he'd have just done it right.
Yeah.
You know, he'd get 2 or 3 Indians, dark-skinned people together and declare an Indian
No
village.
political correctness around this place.
And then they get the mafia to come in and build a casino for it.
well, fellas, personally, I saw something last night. I saw a documentary, and I don't remember what channel it was on. It may have been on Al Jazeera. But
I hear you've been
What
watching that
channel
a
are they
lot.
on?
I hear you've been watching that a lot lately.
107, well,
Really?
really,
I
107,
think if got them on serious, I'll listen
Well,
to them. Do they speak English?
absolutely.
Okay.
But yours, from what I've seen of it, they don't seem to lean one way or the other. They seem to tell it like it is. Now, I might be wrong, and of course, this is the station that, or
I'm
that.
sure
that
it's less biased
board-
than MSNBC.
Well,
Al Gore sold it to them.
Yeah, Al Gore sold this.
Bukus of
but
dollars, yeah.
anyhow, they run a documentary on something that I have never heard of, and that's the USS Liberty, which was a spy ship. You've heard of it?
Yeah, but I
Over-
don't remember the details.
It was over in the, I believe it's somewhere in the Mediterranean or somewhere that it was running over
Is that the
there.
one the Israeli Air Force
That's
sunk?
the one that the Israelis teetotally shot it to whatever. And this documentary, they have tapes showing that they knew that that was an American ship. They knew it. It was flying the American flag and whatever. They sent fighters in there and they shot it all to pieces. And they killed 168 of our Marines and soldiers, or sailors and Marines
On that ship.
on that ship. Killed 168 of them. But
Well,
what really,
the government did a good job keeping that news suppressed, didn't they?
what they did right there, according to this documentary, really tells you something about government. Johnson was president. And after they shot it all to you know what, with fighter planes, gunships, then they sent in some torpedo boats and torpedoed it. And the aircraft, they had a film of it. You know, they was filming all this going on, the fire planes was or whatever. But anyhow, when that torpedo hit that thing, that was unbelievable. It bowed in the middle, come up out of the water and set back down. And I don't see how in the world it kept from breaking it in half. But anyhow, when it set back down, it didn't sink. But after they done all this to it, somehow the USS Liberty got a message out that they were under attack and whatever else. Well, one of our fleets was somewhere about 500 miles away, and of course they turned, our aircraft carriers had turned and went to its aid. Well, when the Israelis, when this message got through, then they ceased their attack. And they sent a helicopter out with a bag, and they said they had it weighted down with an orange and dropped it down on the deck and asked something about, do you have injuries or something? And they said the captain of it, of the Liberty, said when he read the message, said he walked out and sent a single finger salute to the helicopter. That was his opinion of it.
Why did they attack the thing?
They never have said why they attacked it. The only thing I can figure out was it was a spy ship, of course. And it was only armed with 50 or 60 caliber machine guns, one on each corner to keep off pirates or whatever
When
else.
did that happen?
Happened June the 8th, 1967.
Lyndon Johnson.
Lyndon Johnson's president. But they covered the thing up unbelievable. The survivors are now talking about it. Some of the people, the soldiers or Marines that were on board and whatever else. And the way they covered the thing up kind of makes me think government has a very low opinion of our citizens.
I already knew that.
Well, one of the Marines who was on board was awarded a Purple Heart. The captain was awarded the Medal of Honor. But the president did not present the Medal of Honor. It was given to him at another location, and while he was receiving the Medal of Honor, Johnson, and I don't know whether I already even call him, well, he held the position of president, but I think you ought to put a few other adjectives with it now. But anyhow, he was out handing out diplomas to high school kids somewhere, while this guy was getting his Medal of Honor from some other surrogate or something. But anyhow, the guy that got he was a Marine who received the Purple Heart. He was awarded this at a different location, somewhere in a out-of-the-way place, and he was also told that if he ever revealed for what reason, the circumstance that he received it, that he would be took under military justice. He had to keep it, not say what why he got this medal. But
So
also,
now only after 45, 46 years are they talking.
yeah, but
That's the trouble. You gotta live forever to get the
But
true history,
what they
or even get close to the true history of what really goes on.
But here's what they uncovered was that the Israelis told Johnson that if he opened his mouth, said anything or done anything, that he was done for. That he'd never have any kind of position or anything, that they held and whenever I say the Israelis, and I'm talking about the Jewish side, they made it very clear that it's not the Jewish people, the everyday, ordinary person that you're of Jewish faith. It's the people who are in positions of authority.
When did that happen? What year?
67.
That before or after the 67 war?
It was during it, right up close to it or something like that.
That don't seem.
When there's some talk about they thought it was an Egyptian or Russian ship, or an Egyptian ship.
They made some
Because
kind
that
of...
was in the middle of that war.
Right. They made some sort of a statement. Of course, this was a spy ship. I mean, that's what they were there to intercept communications and whatever. But
That don't seem in the Israeli best interest to me to do it intentionally
Because we gave them everything to win that war
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, we did, and we would have been any information we got would have benefited them more than it would the people they were fighting.
That makes it a mystery as to why they would do it. But they have the, what they call, well, the tapes of the pilots. And the conversation indicated they knew what they were firing on. And their directions, of course, comes from somewhere else. The pilot didn't make that decision.
I know, but if he went out there and they said, we think these guys are running under a false flag, bomb them, because they're gonna figure out how to get their troops right now. So these guys go out there, well, they've got an American flag, and the guy back home says, yeah, but we got information to indicate they're not American, bomb them. And then
Okay.
after the trigger's pulled, you can't unpull it.
But
This is almost like that Korean flight that was shot down
Yeah.
in the Pacific by the Russian Air Force. Because Congressman McDonald from Marietta, Georgia was on that flight, and he was the strongest, staunchest anti-communist in Washington, D.C. And they knew it, and
Okay.
they knew where that plane was gonna be.
let's go back to what you just said, Ronnie. If that ship's sitting out there in the middle of the ocean, in international waters or whatever else, they did not have to fire on that ship. They could, if they had the least bit of doubt or whatever else or question about it, even if it was flying false colors, they could still take the time. It's not going anywhere. I mean, very fast. They were in international waters somewhere. My understanding is it's somewhere around the Mediterranean or off. Now I may be
They were
wrong.
in
on that.
range of their spy technology, right?
Yeah. Of whose spy technology?
Their technology was able to gain information about the Israeli troop movements.
Right.
Well, I didn't see the documentary and don't know anything about it. I thought I did, but I don't.
If you get
But
a
that don't
chance.
add up just right to me.
And another thing,
But-
it's on Al Jazeera, it's gonna be anti-Jewish, 100%. And trying to get sympathy in America against the Jewish nation.
I'm a little bit leery of that. Of course, I ain't seen it, I don't know.
Okay, then, but here's, why would President Johnson, why would all this be kept hush-hush? Now, the Marines said that they
Well,
looked,
for this reason, we have enough trouble defending Israel now. And we reasonably, strategically and reasonably should. And if you have Christian beliefs, then you think that you're morally obligated to.
What about this secret letter that
Yeah, but,
they've come up with? Has anybody got the content on that
you
yet?
know, I know what I was gonna say.
Between Obama and Iran?
Anything that complicates your ability to help defend or promote the best interest of Israel, you don't want to spread the word that, you know, there might have been something going on there.
well,
You're talking about the one that Obama was supposed to wrote to Iran?
Yeah.
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 And my understanding is it's not the first one he wrote.
Has anybody got any content out of it, or found
They
out what
they
the
decided
content?
maybe he didn't write it, didn't he? He never admitted that he did it.
I don't know.
I think his spokesman denying it.
You know, they found a letter between Teddy Kennedy and Andropov
Yeah.
in Russia,
Drop
trying
off
Andropov.
and drop off.
Uh,
Pick up and drop off.
what they were trying to do was come up with a way to embarrass Reagan over the Star Wars
Yeah.
technology,
Oh, yeah.
because Russia was scared to death of that. Kennedy wanted the Republicans embarrassed, especially Reagan. So he was cooperating, and that was before communism collapsed. They were still 100% communist at the time.
Technically, he committed treason, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
You ever heard of pick up and drop off?
No.
He worked for Clinton Clack's Tappet Brothers on,
yeah,
you know Tom died.
yeah, he died last week, didn't he?
Yeah,
Somewhere thereabouts.
sometime this week.
Yeah.
I can't even say the last name.
I
but
can't either,
He's 78.
yeah.
He had Alzheimer's. But I like to listen to them guys, and they're
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
sharp.
Yeah.
So that's our tribute to the Tappet brothers, Tom, whose name we cannot pronounce. But, you know, he was a PhD.
Is that right?
Yeah, MIT.
Wow.
Yeah.
In what field?
He was almost
Mechanical
He was,
highly as great as this bunch.
Yeah.
he had a degree in physics, I believe.
Okay.
It was a technical degree, and his brother, same way, both of them MIT graduates. And I said he had a PhD. I may be wrong about that. I know he had at least 2 degrees, one of them from MIT in a technical field.
Well, I would say something facetious, like, what's PhD cost nowadays?
I don't know, but you get them out of Western Australia, they're blame cheap.
You can get pretty cheap some places.
You still got yours?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I've lost mine. I might get me another. I have to go back to school. By the way, if you want somebody with real credentials instead of this made-up stuff, you need to call Care, especially if you need some medical transport. You need an ambulance, a ride to the hospital, a ride between hospitals, a ride home from the hospital. Somewhere you've got to have somebody with some technical skills, good catch. Some technical, save room for cake, some technical skills, really.
Okay.
You need to get a ride in one of them Care ambulances. They are independently owned, meaning that we don't have to pay to keep them up, and they do appreciate your business, and they have to work hard and please you in order to stay in there. 562-9370, 562-9370, that's the people to call.
Wild Bob and Ron show.
My God,
Hello?
I hope my phone's better today. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Well, I missed part of the show. I was wondering, and curious about some comment from you 3 wise guys from Campbell County, Tennessee. If you mentioned that 90-year-old guy down in Fort Lauderdale that got put in jail for feeding the homeless, did you all comment on that today?
I think anytime you can get free food, y'all take it.
Well, they put the old man in jail, you know, because he was exercising his right to his religious belief where Jesus said to feed the hungry.
But he didn't have a toilet. They have to have a toilet with him.
Oh, well, that explains everything. I'm glad.
He was violating the building code.
Yeah, right, really, because he didn't have a toilet facility, he was not allowed to feed people.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they threatened him with pretty serious fine and jail.
Oh, that don't make no sense. Well, yeah, well, I guess everything does, but was he just giving food out to the homeless people? Is that what he's doing?
Mm-hmm.
He was the chef, and he cooked every day and served a meal on the street there to the homeless, and they passed an ordinance, the city council did, that forbade him from doing that, and he was doing it anyway, and they arrested him. Shame on those cops that would do that, and they took him to jail, and the last I heard, he said he was going to do it again when he got back out, and I was all for him doing it again.
And let Bob do it.
I didn't know if you all had heard more about it than I had or not.
Well, I read that the ordinance stated that he had to have a toilet facility, and he said it's impossible to do that. He's handing out sandwiches and stuff on the beach and things like that.
Now, let me ask a question. Most people, most places like, you know, at one time we had the small trucks that went around.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he be classified the same way?
Well,
I know what the problem. Here comes the problem.
The problem
He's
is
giving
that's a
it away.
different city.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's a different city, but if by him giving it away, that means that he didn't get no tax off
Let me
of
put
it.
it to you this way.
Okay.
If I had one of them little trucks running around and somebody out there giving food away, I wouldn't like that much.
Well, that's what it boils down to is politics, and whoever would pass such a law, they're the ones that need
Well,
to be.
you just don't believe in cleanliness and protecting public health. Now, what if you had somebody out there with Ebola serving food and they couldn't even wash their hands?
Well,
Well,
yeah, you can, what if it,
the way I understood it, he was cooking, he was affiliated with one of the churches there because two pastors were arrested too. And he had been doing this for some time, and you know,
Well, the pastors, what I
might not feed them, they're going to die anyway.
well, it's a sad shape that our country has got into.
You need to go down to the same lot and give them $1, they'll feed them.
Yeah.
The socialist
10 cents
progressives,
of it'll probably go to food if you give it down there.
the socialist progressives were able to get our public schools to be totally secular, where they do not teach Christianity, ethics, morals, the difference between right and wrong, or religious
You
principles.
never know, you might be raising a politician.
And now we've got generations, like X generation, zero generation, Generation X, the millennium generation, they've been totally secularized, and now these people are getting elected to office. Christian principles don't mean anything anymore.
I had sent you an email, Jerry, hoping that you would shed some light on this guy's constitutional rights that I didn't understand, but you know, that conflicts with his religious beliefs. If the Lord said feed the hungry and the city council says no, you can't do it, then are we a constitutional republic or are we just
But you don't understand. They don't.
It's aggravating to me.
You don't understand, they don't say that he can't feed the hungry, he just has to meet certain guidelines before he can feed the hungry, just like you have to get a permit to carry a gun.
Well, the Lord forgot to say that, didn't he, when he gave that commandment? He clean forgot to say that. I rest my case, guys. I knew you all would shed light on this for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
This is where the government has got teetotally out of control. It happens here locally as well. You can make a rule to cover everything.
Yeah. Even rules.
Yeah, I think if you want to get kind of whatever, I think that the county out here ought to build a landing zone for UFOs too.
Well, you know, they'd have to have it lit.
I know we had
fly.
I already had one, it's called City Hall.
I've been trying to get a permit, I'm thinking about it.
Well, the stuff they're doing with
To see
Ronnie Inman down there,
See if we
I
can
believe
kill
the
one.
UFOs have already landed in City Hall.
Well, we had a caller the other day that called in that he was in a situation and he took care of something, birthing a child is what it was. But the simple thing is he did what he had to do with what he had to do with. And it's just like this right here. If you've got a city council or you got somebody that ain't got nothing more to do than to follow up on something like this, they ain't got much to do. And this is where I've come down to the point that I'm not very much in following these here so-called leaders, because I don't think many of them have got any common sense.
Look at our City Hall, they've outlawed chickens. You can't have chickens for pets anymore, even when you name them.
You don't know
You
how.
can't,
You
you can't have dogs, you can't have, you can't expand your business. You know, the mayor says they gotta drill some kind of a hole in the ground to check the soil. They had one done 18 years ago. Now you tell me what's happened to change the soil and the fall in the last 18 years. Have we had an earthquake or a tectonic shift or?
Well, if a person's building it, it's their money they're investing, and if it falls down, it's their business. It ain't the city's. The city ain't, if the city was paying for it, of course, if it cost $10,000, it cost
It'd probably
$100,000.
fall down if they paid for it.
Well,
Mike
probably-
Stanfield is using some stupid rule or regulation to enforce an authority over a local businessman that doesn't meet any standard of logic or morals or ethics known to mankind.
Be interesting to see if they ever find a place where they're gonna put McDonald's if there's a dime to get downtown, if they have to drill a hole there.
Do a core drill.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's a core drill done down there at Bojangles.
I don't know.
Of course, they're not doing too well, they're serving that really that good, so good chicken, but you can only sell so much chicken in a wallet.
He ain't run out of chicken. Did you guys hear about that guy that had to take a urine test to drive a bus, and he sent him a urine test, and took it in, and he come back.
they would accept that
When
one.
the results come back, they They said, now,
He
is
said,
this,
say he's pregnant, was
they
he?
said, is this yours? And he said, yeah, it's mine. And they said, we have reason to believe this is not yours. And he said, yeah, it's mine. And they said, well, we've got two things to tell you. The first one is you're pregnant, and another one is you're fired.
Oh, man.
That's terrible to be
But
pregnant.
he found out
with a
about his
job.
wife. He found out something he didn't know. And did you know that they've got so good at data mining? I also read about this guy, that they got so good at data mining that this guy, he had a 15-year-old daughter in high school, and these sure local Target, so it was, Target was sending her advertisement for baby clothes and baby furniture and stuff, and he went in and showed a fit on them, and because they was sending his daughter that kind of stuff, she's just 15 years old, but they already knew what he didn't know. She
You're
was
kidding
pregnant.
me.
They knew it before he did.
Access to
Yeah.
confidential medical records.
Well,
That's true.
in the tech, oh boy, you know, I heard,
I hope my cat don't start getting
I believe this was on,
advertising for
If my cat does, I'm going back to Sanders, and get my
Maternity.
money back, his surgery.
Yeah. Me too.
for the, if you ain't got enough to be concerned about, and I believe this was on the news, we're getting hacked by Russian and Chinese or whatever, but the Russians, I think, is the one that's primarily into our electrical grid, to where that they can control, shut it off, turn it on, and whatever else. Have you heard about that?
Hey, have we mentioned Sawmill Holler today?
Yeah, we mentioned something else, but we need to
We talking
mention again, you're talking about Digger,
Yeah.
562-5444,
Yeah, buddy.
and we need to also
562-5444.
re-emphasize, enforce that Vitalcare's got this terrific,
Now, I have a question about his propane,
yeah.
when you use it for heating, is it like those, things you buy that you plug in the wall that makes your room smell good? Does
course
this
it does.
propane do
As
that
long as you
too?
keep it lit,
There you go.
562-5444 for Digger and 562-9370 for
Vitalcare. Or call 911 and ask for Vitalcare.
Yeah, that's what you do. I don't know how much time we got left, but I guess they'll flash a light when we go off. They flashed it when we come on today, didn't they? I didn't know what was going on. I know it's been lightning struck. Well, we got just a few minutes left. If you guys want to rant, go right ahead.
I'm curious as what the next crisis will be next week.
Well-
I know there will be one. Of course, now, you know those troops that we're sending over to Iraq, those advisors, I don't think